The story begins with us seeing a girl named Danby, who looked quite upset. She secretly prayed in her heart, "I just wish I could disappear from here somehow." Just then, her eyes fell on a puddle full of rainwater. Danby went closer and saw some people wearing strange clothes in the water. They were all praying for rain. Those people were saying that it hadn't rained for the last 3 years. People were dying due to the drought. Suddenly, Danby jumped into that water, and she reached the very place where those people were praying for rain. Danby was astonished to see them all. She started asking those people, "You guys are shooting for some kind of historical drama, right?" But the king present there found her actions very strange. He got a little nervous and angrily asked, "Are you a witch or something?" Danby nervously said, "I'm not a witch or anything. I'm just a student studying in the 12th grade." The language changes a lot over so many years. The way she spoke made the people think that perhaps she was reciting some magical spell, and they got even more scared. Just then, some soldiers surrounded her with swords. When Danby realized that these swords were real, she started talking her way out of it because she is an expert at that. She said, "I know why I've come here, so that I can bring the rain here." Hearing this, everyone bowed their heads before her. She said, "Repeat this mantra 50 times, okay?" And after repeating her nonsensical words 50 times, as soon as those people raised their heads, Danby had vanished from there. She ran and reached a place where religious clothes were hanging all around. She changed her clothes and started walking with everyone and sat down comfortably in one place. The king was explaining to the people there that we must stop believing in frivolous things. If we want to improve the future of our kingdom, we need to work on science and math. Just then a priest said that all this is nonsense. We can never understand nature with the help of this science, and there is only one reason for the lack of rain. God is angry with the king. If we want it to rain, the king must perform a special ritual with the queen. Danby was sleeping peacefully in this meeting. Just then she realized that her phone was not with her, so she went out to look for it. But the king's special soldier, Sato, caught her and took her to the king. Until the king arrived there, she kept thinking that if it rains, she could go back to her home. But then she remembered that it hadn't rained for the last 3 years here. The king said that this girl tried to fool us. She doesn't deserve to live. Hearing this, Danby started begging the king for her life. She said, "I'm just a student, sir. Just let me go. I accidentally came here from the future. I don't know how." Seeing her death right in front of her, Danby's life flashed before her eyes, remembering how she got here. Danby was an ordinary girl studying in the 12th grade. Only a few days were left until she would take the university entrance exam, but Danby was very weak in math. Whenever she sat down to study math seriously, she would just fall asleep. Her math teacher was very worried about this. One day the math teacher made her stand up in class and asked her to solve a question, but as always, she couldn't solve the question this time either. The teacher angrily humiliated her in front of everyone. After reaching home, Danby, like a good student, started playing games on her phone while playing music on the TV. Just then her mother came there and, like all mothers, taunted her, saying, "You remember songs so well, but you don't remember your studies. You're just like your father, absolutely useless." After some more taunts, Danby's mother sat down to watch a drama. Danby absolutely didn't like her mother watching dramas, so she left the room and went to meet her friend. But Danby's friend also lectured her, saying, "This is your last chance to get admission to college. If you fail this time too, your future is absolutely ruined." The next morning, Danby woke up late and started rushing for the exam. Today was that main exam. Just then her mother encouraged her, saying, "You give your best, you will surely get admission to a good university." Danby was very worried. Her biggest concern was math. She kept studying even on the bus until she reached the exam center. As soon as the bus stopped, it started raining outside. She had forgotten to bring her umbrella in her haste and quickly started running towards the exam center, getting wet. As soon as she reached outside the exam center, her heart started beating faster. She was completely unprepared for this exam, so she started having panic attacks. Fearing failure, she ran away from there. Danby remained seated in the rain. Just then she saw the puddle she had jumped into to come here. Danby started telling the king things about history to prove that she came from the future, but unfortunately, it didn't work. Then she used her brain and lied that she is very good at math. Just then the king lowered his sword and said, "Prove it." The king gave Danby a question to solve. Danby's handwriting was very messy, but seeing the diagram, the king understood that this was the correct answer, and the solution was also excellent. Seeing this, the king was left completely dumbfounded. The king said that the biggest geniuses in our country take 3 days to solve this problem. You did it in 1 minute. After this, everyone started looking at Danby as if she were a huge genius, whereas in the time she came from, she was completely useless. But in this era, Everyone else was stuck in second grade math. Now the king gave Danby an offer. If you teach our people math, in return, I promise to send you home. Danby had no choice, so she agreed. Her first student was the king himself. At the same time, the king told her that from now on, you will have to live here as a boy. Because no matter which time you come from, in this era, girls cannot be teachers. Danby was shocked to know that the king didn't even know how to count. Danby started teaching the king from the basics. First numbers, then plus, minus, multiply, and so on. In a few days, the king was going to have a math test. Actually, the king had made a bet with a man from another country, and that contest was going to happen in a few days. The king said that if I lose, you will be punished. That's why poor. Danby was teaching the king with full dedication out of fear. On top of that, Sato was sitting behind and playing a sweet tune so that the king could concentrate better on his studies. It was taking the king a lot of time to learn. So Danby angrily slapped the king on the forehead, for which Sato immediately pointed his sword at her, because touching the king without his permission was a huge crime, and she had smacked him on the forehead. But the king stopped them. At the same time, he saw the queen coming, and seeing this, the king hid all the math papers and started acting like he was learning music. One day, while eating, the king felt that Danby was watching him for a long time, so he invited Danby to eat too, but Danby didn't like that food. When the king asked, "It's good, what's wrong with it?" So Danby took him to the kitchen with her, and she had a packet of instant noodles there. The king found them a little too spicy, but the taste was superb. When Danby said, "It feels too spicy, drink some water," the king refused and slurped down all the noodles. The next day, everyone was hearing the king's screams. Danby quickly went to see what had happened to him. She saw that something was written on the king's face and applied to it, so that the black magic cast on him would break. Danby removed the amulet from the king's ear and said, "Look, sir, your stomach is upset because of eating 2 spicy noodles. Your stomach is not used to all that. No one cast black magic. Your stomach is just a little upset because of the spices." The king asked, "What is a stomach?" After which Danby told the king about the body parts, that there is a heart here, a kidney, and so on. She also tried to make the king hear his heartbeat, but the king kept saying that he couldn't feel anything, so Danby told the king that the day you fall in love with someone, your heart will beat a little faster. It will be easy to feel it that day. Danby had a lot of knowledge according to the people of that time. The king was very impressed by this. After this, the king said that from now on, you will teach all our scholars, not just math but also science and farming. That night, the king gave her an orange to eat, after which Danby thanked the king and quickly ate it. Seeing this, the king got very angry. He said that you should have eaten this fruit over 3 days. Do you even know how expensive this fruit is? You don't appreciate things. Danby replied that there is no need to create such a drama. It was just an orange. What's the big deal? A little later, they both started playing with a ball in the palace. Today the king had run for so long after many years, spending so much time together. They both had now become quite close. Even the queen started feeling jealous of Danby now. The king was consoling her when a tired Danby dropped the ball from her hand and fell asleep, behaving strangely. As soon as she woke up, she started apologizing to the king, but the king said, "Nothing happened, just forget about it." After this, they both went for a walk. Then the king told her that if you succeed in this mission, we will give you a good position in our court and a precious horse as a gift. Danby said, "I don't want anything. I will go back home as soon as the first rain falls." The king said, "Until then, don't consider me the king. We are both equal." But the very next night, a terrible incident happened. Danby was taken into custody for the crime of mocking the king. Those people tied Danby with ropes and started torturing her. Everyone thought Danby was a boy, but then the king came there and rescued her. He said, "This boy is a great genius. He has more brains than all of you combined." After this, a priest said that if that's the case, I myself would like to test him. "Listen, boy, you have 2 weeks. If you don't bring rain in 2 weeks, we will kill you." But Danby didn't give up and kept calculating everything day and night. She wanted to predict when it would rain by calculating the humidity in the air. She saw that the humidity was quite high. It would rain soon, and a few days later, it actually started raining. A wave of happiness ran through Danby's heart. Danby saw a puddle similar to the one she had come through. She could have left from here, but now she didn't want to leave without completing the king's work. She had developed a method to measure and store rainwater. Just then the king remembered that Danby would leave with the first rain. He ran to Danby's house. There the king saw Danby standing and crying. The king was very happy to see her hard work. He put Danby's hand on his heart, which was now beating fast, which clearly meant that the king had fallen in love with her. On the other side, the priest called Sato to him and said, "Kill that scholar. He definitely came from the future." Sato quickly reached the king and Danby. He told the king that some people in the palace want to kill Danby. After which the king sent her with Danby into the forest so that they could hide from the attackers for some time. Meanwhile, in the palace, the priest was explaining to the king, "Forget everything that boy taught you. We should follow our traditions, not that boy's useless talk." But the king ignored his words and set out to find Danby in the forest. Some other attackers saw Sato and Danby. Sato quickly put Danby on a horse and sent her away, and he stayed behind to face them. Danby kept running and stopped at a place from where she couldn't understand the way forward. Just then she remembered the king's words. The king had once told her that the sun rises in the direction where you have to go, so she started moving forward following the sunlight. The king was already waiting for her there. That night, they both sat alone and watched the stars. Danby said that in the future, we don't get to see the stars very often, but the king changed the topic and said, "I've started to like you. I want to create a language that everyone can easily read and write." Just then, Danby remembered something. She took out a banknote from her pocket. The king's photo would be printed on the Korean currency note in the future. Seeing this, she understood that the king was going to do something very big in his life. Well, the next day when she woke up, some people started dressing Danby up like a bride. She couldn't understand what was going to happen to her. Actually, this was happening at the behest of the king's mother. She had seen the king and Danby together, and the king could keep many other girls in the palace along with the queen. Then it was explained that she was being prepared to be intimate with the king, and now she would become the king's first concubine. Hearing this, Danby ran away from those crazy people out of fear. A servant told the king that Danby had run away, after which the king angrily started looking for her. Finally, when he found Danby, the king grabbed her hand and dragged her to his bedroom. Danby started defending herself. "You said we would just be friends. I am only 19 years old, okay? Don't force me." Hearing this, the king said, "Yes, well, you are an adult. It's been 3 years since you became an adult. You're not a child. And anyway, I am not going to force you. This is all my mother's doing. I have no part in this. But for now, we have to stay together here. Everyone else is keeping an eye on the room." The next morning, Danby started talking to the musician. The musician asked her, "Do you still want to go back to the future?" Danby didn't answer. She looked very worried. That very night, she saw her new system of counting days and months, which she had also helped create. With this, the people would get accurate information about days and months. After this, the king came to Danby and took her to show her something he had been working on for many days. The king had created some new letters that would be easy for even common people to understand. He didn't want only a select few people to be educated. He also thanked Danby for all this. "If you weren't here, I would never have been able to do this." As soon as they both reached the middle of the hall, the king made Danby sit on a chair and put a royal pin in her hair. The belief was that if the king put this on a girl's hair, she would marry the king. The king asked, "Danby, will you stay here with me for the rest of your life?" Danby cried and said, "I cannot do this even if I want to. I promised myself that I would go home as soon as the first rain falls. My mother is waiting for me. What will she do? She will be alone without me." After which the king lovingly said, "Then you go back once, but then come back after talking to your mother. Then we will stay here together." But Danby rejected him again. The king got very angry. He said, "Yes, fine. The future will be much better than this kingdom today. Everyone here is illiterate. Diseases spread. You should be there." Saying this, the king left like a heartbroken lover. Danby stood in the hall watching him. Just then, someone hit Danby on the head with a stick from behind and set the entire building on fire. When the king realized that something was wrong, he risked his life and ran to save Danby. The next morning, the king accused the priest, "You set that fire and attacked Danby, didn't you?" But the priest said, "No, I didn't do anything." But there were still marks of smoke and ash on his hands. Showing this, the king said, "You don't even know how to do bad things. Why were you doing it?" At the same time, the king called Danby and asked her, "Did you hear the voice of this man?" Danby shook her head and said yes. Actually, Danby had a book in her bag. It had saved her from the knife. Now the king angrily went to the priest. "You knew how much all this meant to me. Why did you still do this?" To this, the priest said, "If the new language spreads, the youth will start thinking and understanding. They will use their own minds. There will be chaos everywhere. My king, it will be difficult for you to rule. I am not afraid of dying. My life is dedicated to the throne." To this, the king replied, "No matter how much you try to stop it, I will teach the people to read and write. Our life is short. Why be afraid of the world we won't be in later?" But this had no effect on the priest. He felt his knees and said, "Give me whatever punishment you deem fit." Well, after some time, clouds gathered and it started raining lightly. Danby said goodbye to everyone in the palace. The king asked, "Can I walk with you far?" Danby said yes, and the king took her on his horse to a lake where she could return home. She jumped into the lake and let herself sink, and after a while, she returned to her own world. She saw that only a few seconds had passed. She could still take the exam. She had time. She ran towards the exam hall. The teachers were waiting for her. The entrance exam had just begun. She sat down in her seat and started taking the test. That day when she came home, she hugged her mother after seeing her. She gave her a tight embrace. Danby had completely changed now. Well, many months passed, and one day when she came out of school, it started raining again. Just then, someone held an umbrella over her head. She saw that the person who held the umbrella looked exactly like the king. The boy said, "Your umbrella fell on the bus. Be careful or you'll get wet." They both kept smiling and looking at each other. If you liked the video, like and share it, subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.